Hey, what's goody, Frye gang? I hope you're ready to see some of the dumbest fucking tweets out right now. These, I don't even know, but I'm pretty sure these are bait, at least the first one. And yes, even if they are bait, there are people who genuinely think like this and believe this and act like this. So even if this is bait, it still applies with everything I'm about to say, because this is just insufferable. So to start, not even the tweet this video is about, but what it's replying to is this one right here. Every Nintendo fanboy in my timeline. Quoting, Sony is so creatively bankrupt, but then they're trying to use these remasters as an example of being creatively bankrupt that we lose our minds over. Which, this is, don't even get me started on this. This one just is already fucking moronic as it is. Because Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that came out in 2017 on the PS4, is already playable on the PS5 through backwards compatibility. So there's absolutely zero reason for this game to exist. Horizon Zero Dawn didn't need a remaster. It's 7 years old, which you can still play on PS5. And from what I saw in the replies from people who have played it, it still looks amazing on PS5. So there's absolutely zero reason for Horizon Zero Dawn to get a remaster. It just came out 7 years ago. I know that may seem like a long time, but in the term of like the gaming industry, that is not really long at all. All right, I still remember the days of when Horizon Zero Dawn was announced. It felt not that long ago. But there's absolutely zero reason for this game to exist. You have two versions of the exact same game on one console. It's the exact same game. Why is it getting a remaster? And then they try to use these games as an example, these Nintendo games as an example, which is fucking stupid. It's so fucking dumb. And here's another reply that sums it up perfectly here. 7 years old and one sequel later, already backwards compatible on PS5 and ported to PC. And in all these Nintendo games, 20 years old, 20 years old, 9 years old, an homage to an esport, 14 years old, 10 years old, 24, 18, and 13 years old, and ported, not a remaster. So I guess you can kind of make a case for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, but that was on the Wii U, which not too many people had anyway. But the rest of these are far more warranted for remasters than other games. I guess Luigi's Mansion 2, maybe not so much, since it didn't really add new content from what I was reading in the replies, but everything else on here, especially Xenoblade DE and Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Super Mario 3D All-Stars is a collection of 3 of their older games, all playable on one system. So that alone, even if they just ported all three, they're just ports of the 3 games, and that's still justified. Super Mario 64, 24 years old, okay? And even though Super Mario 64 is on the N64 like NSO, Nintendo Switch Online, Sunshine and Galaxy are not. Know how all of these games are 10 plus years old from the Wii or earlier. And for the 3D All-Stars, those are 3 separate games on 3 separate consoles. You would have to buy 2 consoles just to play 3 games. Now, I can't be saying anything because I bought an entire Wii U just to play Xenoblade X, just to play 1 game, so I can't really be saying anything, but my point still stands. All right? No one has the time nor really the money to go and buy 2 whole consoles just to play 3 games. So Super Mario 3D All-Stars, all being in a collection on Switch, is more than justified. And in Xenoblade DE here, this one pisses me off the most, because Xenoblade DE is like the most justifiable for a remaster, because this game was 14 years old. It came out in 2010 on the Wii. All right, and it's had multiple, this is one hell of a remaster, okay? It has been majorly improved in visuals. Just look at this screenshot here, bro, comparing DE in the original. Just that alone is worth it. This game is amazing. Not only that, they added a ton of quality of life improvements. Not only that, they added an entirely new side game called Future Connected, an entirely whole new side game, fully for free, by the way. It is like included in with the game. It's not DLC or anything, included in the game, a fully new side game, an extra story to flesh out Melia more, as Melia is one of the characters in Xenoblade 1. It kind of fleshes out her story a little bit, since she didn't really get a whole lot of coverage in the main game. They created an entirely new side game just to flesh her out as a character even more. And the area that you play in Future Connected is a scrapped area from the original Xenoblade 1. So you get a ton of value out of Xenoblade 1 DE. Like, this is the definitive edition, as the name says. All right, so this is more than justified. Skyward Sword, 10 years old, like also a game from the Wii. There aren't really a whole lot of people who still have Wiis, and since the Wii was a very popular console, I'm sure it goes for a lot now. I'm pretty sure it won't be easy to find a cheap Wii. So I don't know, bro. All of these, and then look, like Super Mario, what was it, Thousand Year Door remake and Mario vs. Donkey Kong, both 2 decades old. These games are 2 decades old. Hello. So these also make sense for being remastered and ported to Switch. Note, all of these games are games you can't natively play on Switch. There's no, because Switch isn't backwards compatible. And notice how all these games, minus Captain Toad Treasure Tracker and Luigi's Mansion, are all 10+ years old. Every single game on here is over a decade old. So them remastering and bringing them all to the Switch, that's not being creatively bankrupt. There's no reason for Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered to exist. You can already still play the game on the current gen. It came out last gen. Why does that need to be here? That makes no sense. And the reason Captain Toad Treasure Tracker here ported from Wii U is because, you know, not a lot of people played or had a Wii U. So this one's a bit more justified, just like Pikmin 3 Deluxe is on Switch. Not many people had a Wii U. And Pikmin 4 was coming out anyway, so people would want to play Pikmin 3. And look, they even ported Pikmin 1 and 2 to the Switch as well, because to anticipate for Pikmin 4 coming out. Those games too, those games were from the fucking GameCube that a lot of people don't even have anymore. So they just ported them over to Switch. It's very simple. Like, there's no reason for Horizon Zero Dawn to be here. You can already play it on the current gen. It doesn't even need a remaster. Even if it wasn't backwards compatible, it still wouldn't need a remaster. Plenty of people still have PS4s. Okay, and it's on PC, so I mean, what is this remaster even for? And then for the tweet that this video is actually about right here, this dumbass shit. Look at this tweet right here. Nintendo games in a nutshell. Activision are so lazy releasing the same game over and over, and then they try to use Splatoon as an example of that. First of all, I don't even want to hear it. Splatoon has had 3 games in 9 years. Call of Duty has been releasing a game every single fucking year. Not only that, it is damn near the exact same game with minimal changes every single year, just with a new name. Like, I haven't played any Call of Duty games recently. The last one I played was like World at War. That was fucking forever ago. All right, I don't play Call of Duty. But from a lot of the replies from people who play both Call of Duty and Splatoon have said how much more different Splatoon is between each game than Call of Duty. They've been saying Call of Duty is basically the same game with minimal changes every single fucking year. Like, take the 5 most recent Call of Duty games, okay? Take the 5 most recent Call of Duty games, put them side by side by side by side by side. And I would not be able to tell the fucking difference between any of them. They all look exactly the same, okay? And then take the 3 Splatoon games and put them side by side by side. You would easily be able to distinguish the 3 games from each other. They all look different, like visually, graphically, they all look different. The art style, they're all different. All the Call of Duty games look exactly the fucking same. And not to mention an unrelated thing, but the naming of the series is just fucking stupid. Like, there's the original Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3. And then now we have like the newer Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3. Like, what the fuck is the point? And like, they don't even differentiate like new modern. It's just Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, the exact same name as the older games. So that just makes everything fucking confusing. Why give it the exact same name? Just make it a whole new game. Or just name it differently. That's just like fucking Mortal Kombat 1. Why is it called Mortal Kombat 1? It's not the first game. All it does is just confuse people. Why name it Mortal Kombat 1? It's not the first game. Just name it. Give it literally any other name than just 1. That's so fucking dumb. But yeah, and just think about the reputation of Call of Duty compared to Splatoon. Call of Duty has a very shit ass reputation because it releases the same game every year, unfinished, barely any changes. All right, like for example, Modern Warfare 3 I think is the most recent, or Black Ops 6. I don't fucking know. I don't keep up with this series, but Modern Warfare 3 was probably the worst Call of Duty game to be released to date. At least it was received the worst. Like, the game wasn't even finished, bro. They released the campaign, and then like a week later, then they finally like made an update to release online. Like, what kind of shit is that? Imagine if Splatoon did that. Like, we only got the story mode, and then we had to wait like a year for them to update the game to give us online, like multiplayer. What? Why wouldn't they just finish the game and then ship it all out at once? See, the reason why they didn't do that is because they had to get it out in time. They have to have yearly releases. So if they took extra time on Modern Warfare 3 to make sure the game is finished, they wouldn't have gotten it out in a year. It would have taken 2 years or something, breaking the yearly release cycle. So they're just shoving shit out just for the sake of getting a game out every single year, and they're not working on the games. Pushing them out unfinished, 300 gigabytes for the goddamn game. Like, fucking compress your files. Why is that so hard for everyone but Nintendo to do? Why does no one know how to compress files? Like, PC games are massive. Anyway, Splatoon, what was I even saying, bro? I just got lost. But yeah, the reputation between the two series. Call of Duty has a shit ass reputation. Every single game, every year, just gets worse and worse and worse. All right, because they're just so worried about pumping the game out every year and not actually making a good quality game. Splatoon, bro, Splatoon 1 was a smash hit. No one expected that to do so well since it was a new IP that late into the gaming industry. Splatoon 1 was a smash hit. So Nintendo created Splatoon 2 for the Switch, which sold very, very well. Splatoon 2 had a very successful launch. Splatoon 3, not as successful as Splatoon 2, but still a very good, successful launch. And it was the fastest selling game in Japan. It was either the fastest selling Switch game or like the fastest selling game of all time in Japan. Either way, Splatoon 3 was a big deal when it dropped. Every single Splatoon game has been a great, successful launch, and has been regarded pretty highly. Now, Splatoon 3 is probably the least like lauded Splatoon game, but it's still, despite all the flaws and everything, it's still a pretty solid game that sold pretty well, that people still play. Call of Duty is just fucking shit. Its reputation has been tarnished. It used to be known as like this like great FPS like juggernaut. It was like the FPS game. Call of Duty was huge back in the day. Now it's just fucking shit. You go and try to talk to somebody about Call of Duty and they'll fucking laugh at you. Like, this series has just gone to shit. Well, Splatoon 3 is only getting better with each game. Not to mention, they are different with each game. Okay? Different story modes, the gameplay is different, the mechanics are different, the games visually look different. Just everything about Splatoon is new and unique with each new game. Call of Duty, it's the exact same game every fucking year, and people will go out and buy it every fucking year. Like, I don't get this. I don't get it. I don't understand. So this tweet is fucking moronic, and then the original tweet it was replying to is also fucking idiotic. Like, both of these motherfuckers are stupid. Like, god damn, these niggas are so dumb. These tweets are so stupid. But anyway, and look, I don't even care if it is rage bait, which it probably is. And you know what? That's fine. I fell for it, whatever. All right, I was gonna rant and complain about this shit anyway. But even if it is bait, there are people who genuinely believe this and act like this and actually think like this. So even if this is bait, my point still stands because people actually believe this shit. It is just mind-blowing. Like I don't understand the Nintendo hate. What is with all the Nintendo hate? Like all of the non-Nintendo fans just absolutely hate Nintendo. Maybe they're just jealous because Nintendo is doing so well. And one point they like to bring up is that Nintendo makes games for kids. Like how is that an insult? Like someone's gonna have to. Kids like video games too, so someone is gonna have to make them. So Nintendo does it. And the thing is, Nintendo makes games for everyone. Like it doesn't matter who you are. I'm sure there's a Nintendo game out there that you will enjoy. For the family, for yourself, with friends, whatever. There's a Nintendo game out there for you. Like Sony and Microsoft, for example, they just make games for a certain demographic, which is typically adult men, with all of their shooters and more like historical medieval games and shit like that. They all just make games for one demographic. Nintendo makes games for everybody, and somehow people like to use that to diminish the value of Nintendo games and hate Nintendo because they make games for everyone. People don't take Nintendo seriously because they make games for kids. Okay, they make fucking banger ass games for kids. Who cares if they're for kids? The games are amazing. They stand on their own merit, for kids or not. It doesn't matter who they're made for. They're still amazing games. And it is why Nintendo has consistently been at the top, on top of the gaming industry, running the gaming industry. Like, say whatever you want about Nintendo. They have been killing it since they ever started. Back in 1889, fun fact, yesterday, was the 135th anniversary of Nintendo, which is wild to think. They've been around for 135 years. They've been running the game since 1889. Ever since they started, bruh, making video games. They saved the market crash of 1981, or was it 83? Something like that, 1980 something, with the drop of the NES. And ever since, Nintendo has been a mainstay in the gaming industry, constantly at the top, making banger ass games. Nintendo Switch is the second best, I think, second best selling video game console of all time, right behind the PS2. And every year Nintendo constantly drops bangers and bangers. If you look at some of the best selling games and just best games of any given year, Nintendo is typically at the top or very near the top. They're consistently making high quality games, great games, where Microsoft and Sony are kind of going on the downfall. Nintendo is only going up. Nintendo revolutionized the gaming industry when they dropped the Wii. That was a big, massive hit. The DS, that was also a big, massive hit. And then with the Switch, combining home console and handheld, that was a big, massive hit. How many times has a PlayStation or Xbox done that? PS2, maybe. That's about it. That was the last like big, huge console release, was PS2. Nintendo has had multiple. Okay, Nintendo is constantly up at the top. Okay, and don't get me wrong, the whole like Nintendo fanboy thing is also annoying, but people just unnecessarily hate on Nintendo just because they make games for kids. Like, no, they make games for everyone, not just kids. That's what I think people don't understand. But regardless, I'm getting off topic again. These two tweets are fucking stupid and they make no sense to me. And I just wanted to rant about them because, I mean, fuck it, why not? Splatoon is dead. I need content, so I'm just slowly transitioning into commentary. That would be hilarious, but no, I'm not going anywhere. But yeah, these tweets just really, they pissed me off just a little bit, if you couldn't tell. But that's about it. See you next mission and play some goddamn Splatty.